Actually, that wasn't too bad.
I read all 20 of the books that were nominated for the Goodreads Choice Awards in the mystery and thriller category, so let's talk about them. Hello and welcome back to my channel. It's Tina. And today, as I just stated, we are going through my rankings for the Goodreads Choice Awards Best Mystery and Thriller of 2025. I'm also going to share whether or not I did better picking my own thrillers or if I ranked these ones higher, the highs, the lows, the goods, the bads. So let's go ahead and get into it. In case you missed it, I do have 2 vlogs in which I read them live with you and we go through that. So if you're just finding me, watch this video, continue on here, and then go back and watch the vlogs if you are interested. I had a great time making this video. If I'm being honest, I'm so sick of looking at these titles. I will be happy to move on to another project. So why did I do this? You might know I am the biggest end of the year best of list fan. I don't care if it's books, movies, TV shows, podcasts, whatever. If it's an end of the year wrap up or best of list, I want it. Give it to me. And one might argue that the Goodreads Choice Awards are the biggest best of list around, at least according to readers. Now, there are a lot of flaws in the Goodreads Choice. We know this. I've talked about it. Namely, it is a popularity contest with a severe lack of diversity and a severe lack of giving other authors a shot, as evidenced in this one by having one author with 3 on the long list. But I still like to pay attention to it because I think it's interesting. I think I want to know what the readers are looking at, especially given that I do Instagram, I do YouTube, and I have a book podcast. And I had a great time reading through this. I really did. What's fascinating about this reading experience is that I rated some books 5 stars and at least one book 1 star. So I really ran the gamut. Before the long list was announced, I had already read 9 of the books that were on the list. So I had to read 11 of them, and I read them in 2 weeks. That's a little bit crazy. Now, that pace is a lot. It was a lot. I have not watched YouTube in 2 weeks. I've not done really much else other than read these books, but it was a great time. I did a lot of audiobooks as well. I did some tandem reads, some in print, but I don't think that affected my overall experience. And I'm ranking these based on order of my enjoyment, not necessarily if I think you will enjoy it, but I'll talk a little bit about why you might like it or not. I also love that because of this, I picked up 2 books that I ended up really enjoying that I never would have picked up on my own. I also re-picked up 2 that I had previously DNF'd. I also think this category is so interesting because these books are wildly different from one another. The mysteries are very different from a psychological thriller that are different from more of a literary suspense. You know what I mean? There is a lot of nuance to this genre that I think people who don't really read widely within it don't know. So I almost had a hard time pitting certain books against each other, but I think I'm solid in my rankings. So I'll share a couple stats before we officially dive into the list. I've read a total of 53 mystery and thrillers so far this year. I say so far as though I have a lot of time left. And I was curious to know my average rating for the ones that I read that were not on the long list and the ones that were. For the ones that were not on the long list, I gave them an average rating. I read 33 and I gave them an average of 4.06. That's pretty great. And then my average rating for the ones that are on the Goodreads list was a 3.5. So needless to say, I think I do a better job at picking out the mystery and thrillers on my own. So at least by my barometer, by and large, these are not the best mystery and thriller of the year. And before you ask, yes, of course, I will offer you my own personal books that I think are on the best mystery and thriller of 2025 list. So yes, I'll share that soon. So without further ado, let me go ahead and get into it. This is not going to surprise anybody. In 20th place, it is The Tenant by Frida McFadden. This book is bad. There's nothing else that can be said to redeem it in my eyes. I asked a couple friends to tell me, why did you enjoy this? Can you tell me more about it? And they were kind of like, it was fast paced. And yes, but at what cost? I just thought this book was so silly. The reveals were not good. There was a goldfish funeral in this one. The bad guy, if you will. If there is a bad guy in this one, the bad guy had no real motivation. It just was sort of this silly thing that I just did not think was good. I think this was underdeveloped, and I super don't think this belonged on the long list for Goodreads Choice Best of the Year. In 19th place, I don't have a copy of it, and I won't get a copy of it because I don't want one. And it is Gone Before Goodbye by Harlan Coben and Reese Witherspoon. This one, man, is only on the list because of the authors. I will note that it did not get shortlisted, so there's that. But this one, I just think had a good premise in mind, maybe. I think there were some good elements, but I think overall there was a lot that was lacking. For me, it read like it knew it had an adaptation in mind. It read as though it was a debut author, which I suppose Witherspoon is. There were some, again, implausible twists. I need a twist that makes sense. That's like, wow, you are so clever to include that and to think of it in the first place. And I just don't feel like I got that with this book. It was confusing. The audio, you'll either love the audiobook because Reese Witherspoon narrates it, or you won't like it because she's too familiar and it almost feels like Elle Woods is narrating Grey's Anatomy. Speaking of Grey's Anatomy, I did like some of the medical aspects of it. I wonder how much of it could really happen or how much is true. I do like the overall idea, but I think the execution was flawed. So this one's number 19, and I gave it 2 stars. Next is Forget Me Not by Stacey Willingham. This is one that I would have picked up on my own. I have read this author previously. I have read her once before, All the Dangerous Things, and I really liked it. So I enjoyed that one. I DNF'd Only If You're Lucky. I did not try her debut of Flicker in the Dark, and this one I think I could have easily DNF'd. I made the joke previously, Forget Me Not, but I think this one's forgettable. This is the one that's about a girl who's missing her sister, and she takes a job at a vineyard to try and uncover a decades-old mystery. My biggest problem with this, and this could be a personal issue, is that I don't love when books have the action taking place in the past, and there's really not much moving the plot forward in the present. She's just looking around, she's getting to know the people that work there, she's working hard on the vineyard, this and that. She also abandoned her mom, who apparently got hurt, and she was supposed to go back home to help her out, and she stays there for like a day. I just think it wasn't well done. There was another sister story in this list that I like much better, which I'll talk about soon. This one is just missable. I gave it 2 stars. Next. Oh God. This is going to ruffle some feathers. But next is Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. I didn't care for this book. I really didn't. This is the one about the girl who gets hit over the head, and because of the medical issues that she had, it actually leaves her with only a few days left to live, and she uses those few days to solve her own murder. That's a really smart premise. You then find out that her family is one of the richer families in town, and they own a lot of construction businesses. And I will say there were a lot of red herrings. There were a lot of people that I was like, was it him? Was it him? The biggest issue with this is that I did not like the main character. She's super snarky. I would say read the first 2 chapters. And if you don't mind her snark, then keep going. I just couldn't stand it. She was like a petulant child. And I just thought, oh my gosh, you are dying. Please think of something else, or constantly would be like, but I'm dying, so who cares? But I'm dying. But it just didn't read plausible to me. Also not my favorite mystery, but I know that I'm in the minority, and this one is shortlisted. I could actually see this going pretty far. This could win. Not going to be my official prediction, but I wouldn't be surprised because I know people really loved it. I just didn't. I gave this one 2 stars. Next is my pal John Mars. Now, I am a John Mars fan. I've read a lot of his books at this point. You Killed Me First is domestic suspense, and you've got a lot of these women that are in a neighborhood together, and they're leading up to this bonfire, and things get crazy at the bonfire, and then you are leading to the point where a woman wakes to being trapped inside the bonfire, and it takes a step back and looks at who could it be and why. This was fine. It's short chapters. It's John Mars. It's pretty propulsive, but my big issue with this one is that there is an element that I think I know I don't like when I see it. And you sort of are getting these chapters from people. For example, this one says Ayana the Fifth. And you do find out who they are, but it really took me out of the action. I don't think it was necessary. I thought it was okay, just not my favorite overall. And I think Mars has stronger stories. I gave this one 3 stars. Another 3-star read for me is The Crash by Frida McFadden. This one I read way back in January, so I sort of had to revisit this one a little bit to remember what it was about, but it's about the woman who is 8 months pregnant alone and essentially gets caught up with this family that is trying to take care of her as she is stuck in the blizzard. She gets stuck in their home and things get a little crazy. I think people will find this one to be slow. I also know that the main character is not going to be everyone's favorite. She bugged me, although I gave her some passes, but I was still interested. I was really interested in what was going to happen to her, but I do love a locked room mystery, so I can see that's probably why I like this. I think this one is fine. It's not Frida's best, although it's definitely not her worst. We know that was the tenet for me, but this one is ranked 15th out of 20. Next up, in 14th place is Don't Let Him In by Lisa Jewell. I'm a Lisa Jewell fan. I like a lot of her books. A lot of her books are domestic suspense, I would say. They're not psychological thrillers. They can read a little slower, but a lot of times that works for me. I still love her. I will still continue to read her. I just don't know. I guess I think for this one, The main character was such a piece of work. He really did not grow on me. And I sort of had trouble suspending my disbelief after a while. I still was interested. I would say to enjoy this the most, you need a print copy. There are way too many characters to try and figure out if you don't have the print in front of you. If you like con stories, if you were interested in that Risa Tisa story a couple years ago, and how do people get duped into believing things when clearly they're not true, you might like this one. I thought the ending was good. I gave this one 3 stars, so not my favorite, but certainly not the worst on the list. Next up is Heartwood by Amity Gage, and this is only marginally ranked above Don't Let Him In by Lisa Jewell. This one, I think, honestly, struggled for me because it felt misplaced. I think this is literary fiction. I did not find this to be a mystery thriller at all. Yes, there's a mystery in it, but it wasn't the central premise or point of the story, in my opinion. This is one of the ones I DNF'd, as I said earlier. I think this one was kind of boring, and the multimedia aspect of it all did not work for me, because you'd have this beautiful writing and then you would have multimedia aspect thrown in, and it just didn't make sense. It felt a little bit disjointed. The audio was well produced, and I know a lot of people will like this. It was just middle of the road for me. I gave this one 3 stars. Next, Famous Last Words by Gillian McAllister. We're sort of getting to the ones I enjoyed, just so you know. This one was good. It's about the woman who saw her husband holding people hostage on TV, and then he disappears, and then it flashes forward many years later when we find out that he is still missing. I would recommend this one to people who want to get into more mystery and thrillers but don't want overly graphic. I thought this was decent. Our book club read it and we had a good conversation about it, so do with that what you will. It's a little bit lighter. I'm forgetting some of the finer points because I did read this a bit ago, so that says something, but I gave this one 3.5 stars. In 11th place, we're at Frida again. It's The Intruder by Frida McFadden. This one I actually had a good time with. I think it was an easy read. It hit me in the right place at the right time. I liked the dual point of view. I will say the synopsis makes you think you're getting this bloody slasher. What does this say even? What is she hiding? So the synopsis makes you think you're getting this bloody slasher, but Frida doesn't do that. Her books are lighter. Her books are more, I think, character focused. She doesn't do overly graphic or overly sexual. In this one, you're following the 2 points of view, one of a young girl and then one of the woman who, I think her name's Casey, is trying to ride it out during the storm when this person intrudes in on her property, and you figure out how they go together. I kind of liked it. I did. I thought it was interesting. And again, it was an easy read that hit me at the right time. And I gave this one 4 stars. It almost feels crazy to rank Frida and Vera Wang next to each other, but I have to be honest. Next up is Vera Wang's Guide to Snooping on a Dead Man, and this is in 9th place. This one is charming. Vera Wang is this great character. She is a busybody and she knows it, and she feels like everyone could benefit from having some of her advice in their life. And this one has a great cast of characters. This is a bit darker, I would say, than some of her previous novels. It does take on something that's a little bit darker, but I thought the representation was great. There's a lot of characters to keep track of. I never felt confused, and I was really interested in it. It's also quite funny, and I enjoyed it. I gave this one 4 stars. Next is The Missing Half by Ashley Flowers, and this is the one I was telling you about earlier, is the better sister story than Forget Me Not. This one is another missing person story. 2 women who lost their sisters years ago come together to see if they potentially could solve their cold case. The ending of this one made it. The main character is frustrating, but I'm telling you, the ending made my jaw drop, and I love when that happens. I love a solid ending. This one's pretty dark and pretty gritty, but I enjoyed it. I gave this one 4 stars, and it's in 8th place. In 7th place, you have Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney. It's about an author who loses his wife, and he goes to a remote island in Scotland to try and figure out what happened to her and to try and finish out his writing contract, and weird things start happening while he's there. This could have been a perfect book if not for the ending. I still ended up giving it, I think, 4.5 stars because I was so thoroughly entertained. The audio is excellent. You might hate this, though. I could also see this one winning because I know Alice Feeney has really got that name recognition, and I'm just mesmerized by the holographic. But for me, I'm giving it 7th place. Next up is The Perfect Divorce by Geneva Rose. I am so surprised that this one is ranking so highly. I've tried her several times and I've DNF'd quite a few of her books, but I love The Perfect Marriage and I love The Perfect Divorce. It picks up 10 years after The Perfect Marriage ends, and I was just eating it up, This is your traditional psychological thriller. A little bit implausible, yes, but the main character for me was excellent. She just takes no prisoners and is such a badass, and I loved it. I gave this 4.5 stars. Next is The Impossible Fortune by Richard Osman. I really enjoyed my reading experience. Now, in some of the earlier books, I said, oh my gosh, the twist was silly. It was just cheap. The twists in this one, or the results or the findings in this one, so flipping clever. In multiple points, I was like, damn, that's a really good reveal. I loved this reading experience. Yes, I know I could have ranked this higher had I read the other books in the series, but I don't think so because I typically don't do cozies. And while I enjoyed this very much and gave it 4.5 stars, I still would rank the others higher, but I still do think this is a worthy addition to the list. I don't think it'll win though, because it's book 5 in a series, but we shall see if I'm right about that. I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to go back and start at the beginning. Shocking the world, I gave Dan Brown's The Secret of Secrets the 4th place in this one. I can't believe it either. I loved this book, but I love books that explore consciousness. I love books that explore the meaning of life, that have a lot of psychology. I like Langdon. I think he's this charming sort of quintessential character that felt nostalgic, but it still felt contemporary. And I love that he used a lot of real things that are happening in real life in the space of consciousness to create this story. I had such a good time reading it. Recommend. Still giving it 4.5 stars. 3rd place, Justice for Julie Clark. She did not get shortlisted, but it's the ghostwriter. This is about a woman who gets hired to write her best-selling author father's memoir, and she does, and in doing so finds a lot of skeletons in her family closet. This one's slower, but I thought the ending came together super well. In contrast to some of the other books where a lot of the action takes place in the past and not much in present, you're sort of getting a little bit of both in this one because you're seeing the woman navigate her relationship with her father, and then you're finding out who her father was as a young man. I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4.5 stars and 3rd place ranking. Finally, in 2nd place, We Are All Guilty Here by Karen Slaughter. I'm so happy. I love this. Badass female main characters, compelling, complex. You have to take your time with it a little bit in the beginning, but once you get in, you are going to be sucked in. I thought this one was such a good missing person story, and I love that she's setting up a series. I will absolutely be back for this one. This is my prediction for on this list, but I love this one and I love Karen Slaughter. I'm so happy to this challenge for having me reread this because I really loved it. Finally, in 1st place, no one's going to be surprised. It's King of Ashes by S.A. Cosby. I am an S.A. Cosby girl. He is one of my all-time favorite authors. I think he does anti-heroes super well. I think he does characters super well. I think he does morally gray situations very well. He gives you people to root for, even though you're kind of like, am I supposed to be rooting for this? This one's about a man who goes back to his family business to try and get his little brother out of very significant trouble, and things go awry. I loved it. I will read anything he writes, so it should come as no surprise that this one got my vote, and he is my auto-read author. I gave this one 5 stars, and I also gave this one 5 stars in case I haven't said so. But that is it. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. I'm excited to get back to more regular posting. I haven't been able to post like I want to because I've been reading so much, but I have a lot of fun end of the year content just percolating in my brain. So definitely be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'm here for you about twice a week. Let me know in the comments which one you voted for, and I cannot wait until Thursday to see which one wins it all, but I will see you in my next video. Bye.